All right, let's just make sure we can hear ourselves. What's going on? Long time. What's going on? Empire Nation, what's going on? Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's have some fun today. Let me just make sure that the audio works fine. All right, perfect. All right, good. So audio is working fine. Let's get into it. Yeah, it's been a minute. I think I've been gone for about from live sessions for about 4 weeks, basically since anything before August 9th. But we're back again at it. We'll continue. This is episode number 45 of From Data to Deals. So we will continue. It's going to be a lot of fun. We have a couple of things lined up for you. If you're watching me, I'm going to assume that you're part of my inner circle. Okay. And if you're not part of my inner circle, I want to invite you. My name is Ola. I want to invite you to personal invitation to subscribe to this channel. Go check out 11dayschallenge.com and make sure you're all the way inside of that. Okay. Here we talk about real estate wholesaling. Like I said, my name is Ola. I am the author of Smart Real Estate Wholesaling. Okay, this book right here. For now, you can still get it for free at smartrealestatewholesaling.com. Eventually, the only version you can get for free is if you allow us to ship it to you for free. But the downloadables will be going away. So if you want to get that, go ahead and go to smartrealestatewholesaling.com. All right. The other thing I wanted to do as a quick announcement is we're going to be doing this once a week. Okay. So again, you will hear me talking directly to my inner circle. So I'm assuming you're a part of my inner circle already, because it's the best use of my time, frankly. And I prefer to take care of them because they obviously they've shown that they're a lot more serious. Okay. So with that being said, this is going to be a Q&A every Tuesday, 4 p.m. I'll be right here. I will answer as many questions as I can. If you have any questions too, you can bring them in and then we'll put them in the queue and we'll answer them as we go. This is about real estate investing in particular, real estate investing, flipping houses, real estate wholesaling. It's just an exit strategy. We do use that heavily. Probably is our primary exit strategy that we'll go after first, but there are many other tons of other different exit strategies. So essentially, you're not a wholesaler, you are a real estate investor, okay? And it's a very lucrative business. With that being said, let's get ahead into the first question. This question says, how can I legally wholesale real estate? All right, so this question has a couple of things there with the person asking this question. There's an assumption there that wholesale real estate is illegal, okay? And basically this person is looking for shortcut. Okay, I'm trying to read the mind of the person that's asking this question. This person is essentially thinking, you know what, I'm not sure, maybe they're not too sure, right, that real estate wholesale could be legal, right? But before we talk about real estate wholesale, what is wholesale itself? Wholesale is a type of trade, right? When goods and services exchange hands, you basically have a trade, right? In exchange for money, right? So in this case, it just happened to be real estate. So how could it possibly be illegal? Okay. Now that's one thing. That's one thing, but there's also regulation. So anytime a business is very lucrative, you know, I mean, buying a whole house, if you're following my lead, you know that we don't deal with houses anything less than $100,000. We don't market to them. We can deal, but we don't spend our money marketing to houses that are worth less than $100,000, or neighborhoods that have houses worth less than $100,000. We don't spend our money there. Why? Because you want to spend your money where you're going to get the biggest return on investment, right? So if you already know that, then you know it's a very lucrative business, right? So because of that, there are regulations bodies, there are regulation agencies from the government that protects the consumers. Okay, so they have some guidelines in place, of course, and it varies from state to state. There are quite a few states that frowns at the title wholesaler, not necessarily wholesaling, because wholesaling, you can't remove that from the marketplace. Listen, I have the right to purchase a property or lock up a property under contract at the price less than what the property is worth. There's nothing illegal about that. What becomes illegal is when you do that and it's getting scaled out, and there's a lot of people becoming messy with the business, or a lot of people that haven't educated themselves about the professionalism of the business, and they're all over the place locking properties under contract with no real intention to actually close or line up the right education, the right tools, and the right network to actually close these deals. Then you have a situation where the government have to step in and basically say, we need to regulate. Okay. So regulating it, so you have a place like Illinois where they say if you're wholesaling more than one house in any given year, the last time I checked, if you're wholesaling a house more than one house in any given year, then you need to be licensed as an agent. They didn't say it's illegal. They're just saying we need to make sure you're licensed. Okay. So how do you get around that? You have somebody in your team that's licensed. That's all. Okay. Or you could go ahead and get licensed. There is no laws or rules against, as a licensed person, being able to flip houses. You can still flip houses even if you're licensed. The only thing in many states is that they want you to disclose that you are licensed. Just, hey, I'm licensed, just so you know. Just letting people know. Okay. So the idea that wholesale will ever be illegal, get that out of your mind. Wholesale is never illegal. Just like wholesaling tomatoes will never be illegal. You can't judge me for going straight to the farm and getting the tomatoes at 1/10 the price that they sell it for in a farmer's market on the regular streets, right? You can't judge anyone for that, right? But if there's too much of it going on, there's something called market control sometimes, and just to make sure that the consumers are protected. But for the most part, you probably have like Ohio, maybe Illinois, and Oklahoma. Those three states frown at wholesaling because there are too many people bastardizing the process. But if you follow my lead, if you're going through the 11 days challenge, there's nothing for you to worry about, because really, you're not really a wholesaler. That just happened to be one strategy that you can make money from. And I teach you the right way to do it in a way that you don't have to worry about doing things legally. Does that make sense? So with that being said, I'm going to tell you right now, how can you legally wholesale real estate? First of all, educate yourself. Okay, educate yourself. This is a marketing business. It's not really anything else. You're either marketing or you're investing. It's one of those twos. Wholesaling is an exit strategy. Just get that through your psyche so you can understand that there's no such thing as illegality if you're doing things the right way. If you don't cheat, you don't steal, you don't lie, you don't take advantage of the vulnerable, right? Make sure that you're serving people. That's the way to wholesale legally. That's how to wholesale wholesale real estate and houses legally. Does that make sense? All right, let's move on to the next one. All right, so here's this question. How do real estate wholesalers get paid? I don't like the phrase real estate wholesalers, but it's real. Okay. I personally don't like using it, but it's much more important for you to understand why I don't like using it rather than being religious about that. You don't have to be religious about that. The reason why I don't like using it is because everyone, their moms and their pops are wholesalers right now, even if they've never closed a deal before in their life. And you want to make sure you separate yourself from that. Okay. Wholesalers are very arrogant. That title is very arrogant, very that's a word I'm looking for. They are hustlers. Okay. I don't teach people to be hustlers. I'm just telling you, again, don't get stuck on the terminology or anything like that. Just understand where I'm coming from, in the sense that if you're a hustler, you're not thinking strategies. You're not thinking this is a profession. You're not thinking I need to serve people. All you're thinking about is the Lamborghini. All you're thinking about is the X5 and the BMWs. That's what you're thinking about. You're much more concerned about the lifestyle. Okay, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying there's a place for that, and there's a place to actually learn the skill set that's involved in wholesaling. Okay, wholesaling is one exit strategy when you're investing in real estate. Real estate investing, you buy low, you sell high. Simply, right? Simply put, right? Wholesaling is when you lock up a house instead of actually buying it. You have intentions to actually get it closed, but you're not going to be the person to actually buy. You're not the end buyer. You're just going to help an end buyer secure a deal. Okay, an end buyer, a lot of them cash buyers, they don't have time, right? They don't have the system in place to find all these really good deals. What do I mean by good deals? 50 cents, 40 cents on the dollar. They want to pay 40 to 50%, 40 to 60% of what the property is actually worth. Why? Because that's how they make money. They want to add some value to the property and flip it back into the market, and then they make profit. It's a noble way of making a living, right? So if you help them secure these deals, right, help them find this kind of deals, they'll pay you a little something, $5,000, $10,000, $30,000, depending on the size of the deal, averaging $25,000. Why? Because you don't want to deal with houses or market in places where the properties are worth less than $100,000. If you're marketing to places where properties are worth $10,000, $15,000, there's no meat on the bone for you to make money. That's why I keep saying that. Okay. So that's how you get paid. You get paid because you help cash buyers secure a deal. That's a noble way to make money. You help somebody save time, you help them save resources, you create leverage for their business. So if you show up all the time with a good deal already written in the form of a contract, the property is worth $400,000, but you're able to secure that property at $230,000. It needs about $20,000 of work, right? So they spent about $250,000 and they sell it back into the market. Gross profit is about $150,000 after investing almost nothing, because for the most part, they're probably going to use the bank's money, other people's money, right? Even if it's private funding, right? So they make money, they feed their family that way. And if you help them secure those deals, you get paid. That's how wholesalers, quote unquote wholesalers, that's how they get paid. So in reality, how do you get paid in reality? The way you get paid is by having systems, marketing systems in place to find these deals. It's not about chasing houses around the streets. Houses don't become money. It's the people behind the ownership of those houses that tend to be distressed, and you can help them get rid of these properties by simply locking it on the contract and getting it sold. Help them get rid of the property, then you keep it moving. Majority of the houses you're going to encounter are not going to be deals. So you don't want to be doing this business in a way that you're stuck with manual work, right? Like, for example, driving for dollars around town. You could get lucky, but again, I don't teach people to get lucky. I teach people how to really build a business out of this, how to build a marketing business. It's marketing at the end of the day. It's about learning how to find the right prospect, because you're going to go through thousands upon thousands of prospects, but you're going to pre-qualify them using systems, not with your mouth, not with your personal time, because there are only 24 hours of it in a day. You got to learn how to use systems to do that. And that's what we cover heavily inside of the challenge. And hopefully you're already going through the challenge so that you don't have to do all this kind of manual work that you hear people preaching about out there. You see, the simpler, the easier it seems on the forefront, the more people are coming in it, the higher the chances you're not going to make money. Okay. But if you're willing to do the extra mile, go the extra mile and learn the skill set, then you increase your chances dramatically of making money, because most people are looking for easy. And in life, and especially in business, easy is a word that's not relevant. All right. So let's go on to the next one here. All right. So maybe this question is not for you. Maybe this question is for someone else who you may end up selling to later. Should I buy a house from a wholesaler? Okay. Or maybe you're an investor and you're looking to know if you should buy a house from a wholesaler. The real question that I will use to answer that is, why not? Okay. Like, why not? Okay. Now, there are quite a few why nots. Okay. There are quite a few why nots. Why you shouldn't buy a house from a wholesaler. Okay. But the first one is this: if there's a daisy chain going on. What is a daisy chain? So this person lock up a property under contract, and then they have a co-wholesaler, and then another co-wholesaler. You look through your market in the groups, and you find out that about 15 people are trying to market the same deal. Okay, there's a good chance that it's not a good deal. That's number one, because if it was such a good deal, one person can get rid of it and sell it very quickly. The market doesn't lie, right? The market is what it is. The market knows what it can pay for it. With that being said, sometimes you have to push a deal a little bit long enough to catch the right buyer, right? Or to capture the attention of the right buyer. You know, some houses they're not necessarily a fit for everyone, right? All right. So with that being said, should you buy a house from a wholesaler if you know that this person is actually a wholesaler and they have contract and they've closed deals before in the past? Yes, sure. If they can show you that, you know, you write a contract and they write the contract and they get it back to you and it's the price that you want, absolutely. Here's the thing I warn you about wholesalers: the name on the record, or the owner's record, what do you call it? Yeah, owner's record, right? On the at the county may not match the name on the contract. Okay, they may bring to you what they call an assignment contract, right? Meaning they actually lock this property, this deal, they lock it up with another contract, but they're gonna assign that contract to you. If they're assigning the contract to you, then you kind of want to see the original contract, but you have to promise yourself you're not gonna be greedy. Just in case they're making $30,000, $40,000, you're not gonna be like, but hey, can I get a better price? You need to find out what price works for you. Make sure you're a strong enough person emotionally not to get affected by greed. And then you lock up the contract and then you fulfill, because it's not just about this one deal. They may bring other deals to you in the future that can make you money or that can help you secure a property at a better price. So you could be a landlord to be, right? It could be the owner, the house you want to live in, or they may help you sell another property to a person that you know you love that will benefit from that. So you don't want to go into that relationship and just be greedy. Just know what kind of numbers work for you with that kind of property, and understand that some things may not happen conventionally. You should make sure you have your own personal attorney that will look over things at the closing and make sure that title is actually passed to you properly. You can also ask for your attorney to make sure that title is being passed to you clear off of any kind of encumbrances and craziness, right? That's the part of your attorney to play. Your attorney is not there to say, hey, who's the owner of records? Why is the contract different? If you play that game, it's not going to work with wholesalers, because wholesalers lock up the property with a contract, which secures what you call an equitable interest in the property, right? But they haven't closed. And some people are going to be like, but how can you sell a house that you don't own? Well, from where I'm from, that's what you call a jam question. That means a stupid question. It's no such thing as stupid question, but it means like you're playing the wrong game. If you want to ask those kind of detailed questions, you need to go deal with a realtor, go deal with a real estate agent who will do everything conventionally, but that also tend to mean you may not find the same kind of deal, right? Like if you find a house at a discount, that's the trade-off. You got to be open to the idea that some things may be out of the box, but not necessarily illegal. All right. So that's that. So should you buy a house from a wholesaler? Why not? As long as you make sure that it's a legitimate situation, and the best person to find that out for you is an attorney. Okay. But make sure you know what you're doing, because for the most part, the wholesaler will sell you a house as is. There's nothing guaranteed. Okay. But if you're buying to flip, if you understand the game of real estate, then you can really pick up some really good deals from wholesalers. All right, so this is another jam question, not stupid question, but good question. Can you make money wholesaling houses? I think we said that already, but you can make money wholesaling houses, but let's clear up a couple of things, okay? More and more people are coming into the game and they will never make a dime. Why? Because everything I just said, more and more people are coming into the game. When you have a lot of people coming and trying to play the same game, majority of people will not make money. That's just the way life works. However, there's a part you get into in the game that there's zero competition. If you just take it that extra mile, right? There's zero competition. So let me share a couple of those things with you. Maybe one, maybe a couple, right? Marketing, real marketing, the skills of marketing. Majority of people that are coming into the wholesaling game will not take the time to learn the skills of marketing. How do I know? Because it's not quote unquote easy. It's simple, but it's not easy. Hey, it's just another skill set you have to pick up. Okay. Just another skill set you kind of have to pick up. Okay. So majority of people will say, yeah, this guy told me I could just drive for dollars and make $1 million tomorrow, and they're gonna go drive for dollars for the next 1 month, and then they are gonna be like most people, not make any money. Okay, some people are gonna be like, yeah, I was told to cold call, just cold call 400 hours a day. That's literally impossible. Okay, you're not gonna cold call 400 hours a day. You may cold call 400 people, and after 400 people, you're gonna feel frustrated because it's a very high chance you're not going to find a deal in that 400 people. Okay. But it's time to learn marketing. You got to sit down and learn a new skill set. And most people are going to shy away from that. Okay. Learn data. Learn from data to deals. Learn how to manipulate data. Learn how to analyze data so that you can use that, because there's some trendy things that this very high chance is going to be a deal, right? And you can study and learn those things and then turn it to money for yourself, especially when most people are not going to do it, right? Yeah, most people are not going to do that. That's where the money is. So anything that you can kind of like fathom, right? You can think about it like, most people are probably not going to be doing this, right? That's where you need to be finding yourself. You need to go the extra mile. So when it comes to marketing, when it comes to postcard marketing, when it comes to text message marketing, any kind of marketing you want to do, right? You have to go the extra mile. So even including driving for dollars, right? Can you drive for dollars for the next 12 months, even if you don't make money? If you're not willing to do that, there's a very high chance you're not going to make money. Most people are not going to drive past 2-3 days before they feel frustrated and say, this is not going to work. And like I said, most people that drive a full 90 days are still not going to close a deal just because of that strategy. But I'm saying that if you can actually possibly keep going forever, right, you will close a deal at some point. Even if you're knocking on doors, you will close a deal at some point. The question is, are you going to be in the game at that point in time? I don't know if that's going to be tomorrow. You could be lucky. I don't know if that's going to be 90 days from now. But how can you remove luck, right? There's some strategies. It's something called attention, right? That's something that marketers trade. That's what we trade in. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for a place where the attention is, and we're looking for a cost-effective way to capture attention. Okay? We're also, not just that, we got to keep bringing money in. We need cash flow. So can you stay long enough spending $2,000-$3,000 a month without making any money? That's not what I teach. But a lot of these strategies that you see this guru teach out here requires that, either in the form of time or money, right? How do you find a consolidation between the two? And that's the struggle that a lot of people are having. So can you make money wholesaling houses? Absolutely. You can make money wholesaling houses. What is the chances that you're going to make money? The chances you're going to make money is 100% if you can go the extra mile. The chances you're going to make money if you're just like everybody else, you just want to drive for dollars because they told everyone on YouTube to drive for dollars, the chances are slim to almost none, if not none. Okay. All right. So let's move on to the next one. All right. This is a good question here. Who pays closing costs in a wholesale deal? It's completely optional. I had a friend call me the other day, said, hey, I found this fee. He's buying a house in Houston. And he's like, I found this fee. Is this normally real? I was like, yo, there could be fee for anything. This is America. You could charge a fee just for listening to me. It's called consultation, right? You could charge a fee for anything, okay? And it's absolutely legal, right, to do that. So just keep that at the back of your mind that there could be fee for anything, okay? So closing costs come in all kinds of shapes and forms. When you're dealing with investment deals, they're usually cheaper. But when you're dealing with a house that somebody's going to buy with a mortgage to live in, you're going to find origination fees. Mortgage origination fees, those are two different things. Mortgage fees, those are three different things. This fees, document fees, you're going to find all kind of craziness, okay? I'm probably exaggerating a little bit, but the point is that you're going to find fees, right? So, but when you're dealing with investment deals, not that much. Okay. So for the most part, we always offer our sellers that we will pay the closing costs. Why? Because I know I'm going to make $35,000. I know I'm going to make $25,000. So I can handle $3,000 closing fee. I can handle $4,000 closing fee, because the seller's closing fee is usually not a lot. Okay. Not as compared to a buyer's closing fee or closing costs, right? Closing cost for a buyer includes all the finance fees and, like all different craziness of fees, right? But the seller's fees, realty transfer fees, title fees, a couple of things, maybe $300 for something over here and there before you spend $2, $3, $4, $5,000 at most, depending on the size of the deal. The closing costs are covered. So if I'm going to make $20,000, that's again a reason why I say I only deal with houses. I only market to neighborhoods where the value are $100,000 or more, because I want to have room to be able to pay for that. Because it sounds better when I say, hey, I want to pay the closing cost, than, hey, just give me your house very cheaply for no reason, right? It's part of how we make the deal a lot sweeter. Okay. So who pays the closing costs? Typically, it's supposed to be either the buyer or the seller. But sometimes you just want to say, hey, I'll pay your closing cost. Okay. So I don't know. I don't know if you heard this story before. The first deal I closed back in 2005, I was making $20,000 and the guy came to the table, noticed I did something wrong. That's why I was able to see how much money I was making. But I was making $20,000 and he said, hey, you're not going to make $20,000 off of me. And I said, oh, snap. I guess the deal is about to fall through. After all, I've never made that kind of money before, right? So it was like, okay, I was like scratching my neck. What do I do? I was like, you know what? I'll give you $10,000, right? And he said, you got a deal. And then I made $10,000 back in December 2005. But my point there is that it didn't have to be $10,000 that I gave to him. I didn't have to split down the middle, right? I didn't have to do that. I could have easily said, you know what? You have a $3,000 closing fee here. I'll cover that. I pay that. And you never know. He may say, okay, all right. So I get to walk out of here with just $40,000 flat fee. I was like, yeah. And then I could have closed the deal. So it's a way for us that we use to negotiate to make the deal feel sweeter to the seller. And even sometimes the buyer, like, hey, listen, I'm okay with this deal. I'll pick up half of your closing cost, but don't overdo it, because then it's going to start feeling like maybe you're trying to hide something. But I'm saying when it comes down to it and you have to negotiate, feel free to offer to pay someone's closing cost. And then the adjusters, or what do you call them? The closing agents will adjust that number and everybody is happy, right? So as far as who pays the closing costs, it varies. It depends. I always offer to pay the closing costs as a way to make the deals sweeter. Okay. All right. Let's go on to the next question here. Can you wholesale with no money? Okay. So this is the age-old question, but I don't want to assume that everyone knows where that question is coming from. But we market all the time. Flip houses, no money down, no closing costs, no credit needed, no experience needed. And those things are actually very true. And the same thing, especially wholesale, is very true, because with the wholesale, some people say, but yeah, you got to put money down at least $10, at least $20, at least $100. And I'm telling you, I've been doing this since 2005, and I've never put a dime down. Okay, I've never put a dime down to lock up a property under contract. Okay, now I know some people are going to be hair hustlers and just say things like, oh yeah, but that's illegal. Like, dude, we close the deal with attorneys all the time, 100% of the time. So you don't really get to tell me what's illegal or illegal. I don't know what's legal. I just know that I don't cheat, I don't steal, I don't lie, and I hire attorneys to do my deals all the time, just to make sure that everyone is covered and protected. Okay, but I'm telling you right now, I have never done a deal where I had to put money down. Okay, and when I'm flipping or selling to a buyer, I always collect money down. Okay, meaning $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. If you're going to be an investor and you want to buy a wholesale deal, you better have that kind of money to put down, because you're going to be fixing and flipping the property. That's different from wholesale. Now we're talking about wholesale with no money. You don't get paid for learning all the legalities. Okay, you get paid for finding these deals and securing the deals. Sometimes I've closed deals sometimes when I didn't even secure with paper. Don't do that. Always have a contract, because there's something that does the psychology. When somebody signs a paper over to you, there's something that does psychologically speaking. But do I have intentions to go enforce in case they change their mind and decide not to sell to me tomorrow? No. No, this is a numbers game for me as far as I'm concerned. And basically, if somebody turns around after signing a paper with me today and say, hey, I don't want to sell anymore, I will like, thank you for letting me know. Okay, because it's not ever about that one single deal. It's about volume. It's about as many of contract as I can lock in as possible, while as long as I do my math and I make sure that there's a potential buyer that will pay for that house but also pay my fee for finding the deals. Okay, you get paid for finding these deals, for being a marketer. You don't get paid for quote unquote getting stuck with uh, with uh, with working in a straight line. You get paid for finding deals. And if you understand the way sharks operate, when you find this deal and very, very sweet deals, people will compete and try to get these deals from you because they want to be the one to pick up the next project. If it's a good deal, if it's not a good deal, it's going to be sitting down there and nobody wants it. Okay. And it's very simple. It's like the fastest way to know the pulse of it. If you do that long enough, you know what people want. So back to the point, you get paid for finding the deals. Okay. Not for putting money down, not for $100 down, not for $1,000 down. Now, if you go deal with a realtor, right? If you go deal with a real estate agent and you want to put a house on the contract that's listed on the market, they're gonna want $1,000. Why? Because you're dealing with the on-market deals. Now, if you understand what we do here and you're following the 11 days challenge, then you understand that we don't deal with on the market deals. Okay, that's one of the reasons, because you have to work in a straight line and follow all the rules and guidelines that are not necessarily laws, but just rules and guidelines. You have to follow them to the T, because the agent will make you drop $1,000. But the good news with that side of the market is that you probably can get your $1,000 back if you're pulling out for a legit reason. But we're looking to if you're looking to wholesale, if you want to wholesale deals, it's a numbers games. So how many times are you going to put down $1,000 before you run out of money and feel like this is not working, right? Or you lock up a property under contract at a number and then you try to pull out and they say, well, you can't pull out. You're going to lose your down payment. Okay. So no, absolutely we don't. And if you have to, so let me say this, because you probably have listened to other gurus say you kind of have to secure the equitable interest. It's not really equitable interest unless you do that. Again, you're missing the point. This is psychology at the end of the day. You're completely missing the point if you're stuck on that. But if you have to, never do more than $10. Okay, just to say, okay, that contract is valid. Here's $10. But if a person is requiring you to put down payment down before they sign a document, chances are they're going to be like $10. That's crazy. I need at least $1,000. So again, either way you want to shape it, right? You don't want to have conversations about down payments. You want to have conversations about the distress, the service that you're there to offer. What is the value that you're bringing to that person for helping them get rid of the property? That's what your conversation needs to be surrounding. And that's it. No more, no less. All right. Next one. How do you wholesale a deal? Okay. How do you wholesale a deal with a mortgage on the property? Okay. Let's make sure that's correct. How do you wholesale a deal with a mortgage on a property? That's a good question, actually. It does a mortgage on a property like most properties in America, because this whole housing market is built on mortgages, all right? This whole housing market is built on mortgages, okay? So most houses have mortgages on it. So this question is kind of like, most houses you're going to wholesale will have mortgages on it. But I guess there are two ways to look at it. One, there's a mortgage that's too much, that the mortgage is bigger than what the property is worth. In that case, somebody has to pay that mortgage, right? So let's say, for example, they owe $400,000 on the house, right? Property is only worth $250 because the market tanked, because CUF 419 happened, right? And the market tanked, right? The market is bad for weird reasons, right? That you may not even understand. So now they owe $400,000 and the property is worth only $250. That means the equity on the property is negative $150,000. Okay. In that case, you will have to negotiate a short sale with the homeowner as well as with the bank. Okay, mainly with the bank, but the homeowner obviously need to be open to, I just want to get rid of the property and say, hey, I want to negotiate a short sale with the bank. Let's see how much the bank wants. So the bank may say, hey, you owe us $400,000. The bank will send out what they call a broker's price opinion. That's essentially an agent or appraiser that will value the property and say, okay, you know what, the property is only worth $250. You can give us $230, and we'll keep it moving, right? So the $230, why would you pay $230 for a property that's worth $250? That's too close, right? So you need to just offer what your math says. So how much they owe on the property is completely irrelevant. It's only relevant when you want to determine if there's a short sale needed or not. Meaning, do they owe too much to the bank or not, right? But at the end of the day, it comes down to what is the after repair value of the property. Okay, if you don't know what after repair value is, you should check out dealestimator.com. It's a free calculator that I have there to learn how this works, right? But the idea is after repair value of the property today, not yesterday, not tomorrow, today, based on 6 months of data, 6 months to 12 months of data within 1 mile radius of the property, right? We need to know what properties are selling for. Okay, and that's how we're going to know how much we offer. We don't want to offer more than 65% of what the property is worth. And if the property needs work, we need to adjust that number for it. All right, but that's beyond the scope of this lesson. The point is there the same way. How do you wholesale a deal with the mortgage on the property? Mortgage has to pay for, but it doesn't get paid for until at the closing. The title company worries about that. If the property is worth a lot more than what they owe on it, let the title company worry about pulling the payoff. The payoff statements basically says there's an official document from the bank that says this is how much they owe us that we need to collect before we can allow you to close title, meaning sell the property. Okay, and if the homeowner already disclosed to you, like, listen, this house is only worth $250, but I owe $400,000 on it. Then you say, okay, give me your mortgage documents. Let's see if we can negotiate a short sale. And that's what a short sale is. Another word for short payoff, meaning a discounted payoff. The bank will may accept less than what is owed. For the most part, the bank will want to accept because, again, the bank doesn't really have a way out, especially if they already stopped payment on the mortgage. The bank is kind of stuck. They're not getting the monthly mortgage. They're not getting that. And they want as much as they can get out of the house so that they can reinvest that money into other investment vehicles. Does that make sense? So at the end of the day, money by itself doesn't make sense. It's the value behind the money that really makes sense. If they lent $400,000 to this person and they're making $2,000 payment just for the sake of simplicity, right? And that monthly payment stopped. There's $400,000 stuck in the property. The collateral for the mortgage loan, the house, is the only thing that matters. What is the value of that collateral? That's the only thing that matters at the end of the day. Okay, so that's why the $400,000 is not relevant to how much you pay. What's relevant is the after repair value of what the property is worth today. Okay, so the same way, if they owe less, let the title company worry about it. If they owe more, then you have to negotiate the short sale up front, and then after you get that official short sale approval, you give that to the title company as an approval to allow them to sell for less than what they owe. Bank has basically accepted or agreed to take less than what is owed to them. Okay, so as you can see here, we kind of talk about short sale, we talk about mortgage, we talk about, it's the same thing essentially. Okay, all right, next one. Why do I have to sell my wholesale deal, I guess, to a cash buyer? Okay, so that's what this. Let me just correct that real quick. So basically, we do teach that you should sell your wholesale deals to a cash buyer. Okay, why? A couple of reasons. Now there was one point that I kind of preached against that, but things are changing up a little bit, and also nothing is impossible in this game. It really comes down to the marketplace and what the market has to say. Why do you have to sell your wholesale deal to a cash buyer? You don't have to, but depending on what kind of deal it is. So I just finished talking about short sales. That's one. Sometimes also you pick up a property. If you're savvy in this business, you pick up a property from REO, a real estate owned by the banks. Okay, basically these are foreclosed properties that is not listed by a bank with a realtor, right? if you're buying those kind of properties, they have title restrictions. They have title chain restrictions or deed restrictions, they call them, right? So basically what that means is that if you buy the property right now or you close on the deal, you're not allowed to sell that property for a certain period of time. Sometimes it's 90 days, sometimes it's 6 months. Okay. It depends on what the bank wants, right? But for a certain period of time, you buy it, you're not allowed to flip it. The idea is to restrict people from flipping, because flipping in its very essence, if it's too much in the marketplace, it does devalue the marketplace. It does kill the market in a very twisted, weird way that I don't want to talk about right now. But you get the point. So the bank kind of discourage flipping because if it's too much, just like anything that could be too much, if it's too much, it will devalue a piece of property. So if you have agreed to pay a bank $200,000, they don't want you turning around and selling it for $250,000, because ideally they want that $50,000 extra to themselves. Okay, so that's one situation where you won't be able to flip to anything outside of a cash buyer. Okay, so if you want to flip to a cash buyer, it's just cash deal. Then there's no rules. That's why I keep telling you, don't worry about legalities, because you have attorneys and title companies to worry about those kind of craziness. Worry about learn how to market and how to build a business. That's what your business is. Learn how to do that. Learn how to market in a cost-effective manner. That's what we teach in 11dayschallenge.com, right? Learn how to market effectively. That's where, don't worry about the clause in the title or the contract. All those things can be changed on or before closing. You can amend contracts all day long. It's called addendums. Don't worry about those kind of craziness. You can go online and download contracts anytime you want. And you can change it around and say, just sign right here. We'll change it if we need to change it. If the homeowner is distressed enough, they don't really care. They just want to get rid of the property if you're talking to the right people. Okay, so that's one reason why we encourage dealing with cash buyers, because cash buyers, there's a way you pull that data. They're proven that they can buy. They're the one that can put down $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 down payment. They know what they're doing. They don't need to hire a bunch of inspections before they know if they want the deal or not. They can see, they know what to look for without spending an additional $500 on inspection to know if they want a deal, and they're ready to buy as is. See, if you're selling to anything outside of a cash buyer, then you have the question of, can I do inspection? Is it covered? Will you fix this if I find out that something else is broken? Well, is it okay if I pull out of a contract? You have to deal with extra additional craziness when you're dealing with anything outside of cash buyers. So if you're going to do this game, focus on finding deals that cash buyers want, so cash buyers can pick it up from your hand. They close very quickly, 7 to 10 days after clear title. And that's the reason why I would say that. So you can avoid all that. The cash buyer knows what to do to a house to get it to pass inspection, to get the certificate of occupancy, and they deal with that on the other side of the transaction when they're actually selling to a retailer. Okay, so I don't know. I probably said about 2 different reasons. Okay, number one, deed restrictions. You don't have to worry about that when you're dealing with a cash buyer. A cash buyer will pay you a fee on the side without having to have multiple chains of titles. Okay, so if you're dealing with an REO or short sales, that's basically what you're dealing with. And also, when it comes down to down payments, secure the deal. Don't waste time with people that don't know what they're doing. That's number 3. You don't have to worry about people ordering inspections on a house that's clearly you're selling assets in assets condition, because there's equity in there, right? And you want to do that quick enough and do multiples of that. And that's how you do this business. All right. All right, so let's move on to the next one. Can a fire damaged property be flipped or wholesaled? I mean, yes. Okay, the answer is yes. What else would you want to flip than properties? Keep in mind that people say, why would somebody want to sell you a house at a 60 cents on a dollar when they're not crazy? You're right, they're not crazy. Sometimes it's because the house needs work. Okay, sometimes because it's fire damaged, right? And it's not guaranteed that that every time a house is fire damaged that somebody want to sell to you at a discount. No, it's not always true. For example, I have somebody right now that was supposed to, for the past 2 months, they've been debating back and forth with each other. If you go under contract with me with a property in Jamesburg, it's fire damaged. People do think that their property is worth what is not worth, because it's personal, it's emotional, right? And you just got to leave them alone and focus how to learn how to market to multiple people so you can have multiple deals coming in, right? But the point I'm making there is that fire damage is what you're looking for. If it's fire damage, that's just damage. It's not a big deal. You're looking for ugly houses. You're looking for houses that needs work. You're looking for houses that a fix and flipper, your cash buyer, can add value onto. That's what you're looking for. Okay. So if it's fire damage, like, interesting. What does that cost to repair? Or for example, this particular property needs to be pulled down. So basically it's just land value minus demolition, right? Because it's going to cost something to demolish the property, right? So it's land value minus demolition, and that's what a person can pay for the property, right? So it's not going to be as simple as, hey, the property is worth $400,000 based on square footage. Now you have to look at the land value. You have to look at how big the land is. Can they build a brand new 4.5 bedroom, 2.5 bathrooms there? You want to assess it. We cover all of that, how to assess the value of a property, right? In 11 days challenge. You want to assess it like normal day. How much is it going to cost to replace the structure? That's what you're looking for. And then you give an offer. It's as simple as that. So it's the same thing, but not just fire damage. Yes, that's one type of property that you can absolutely flip and wholesale. But generally speaking, your conversations are a lot easier when the property needs work. You're going to find, like, for example, those people that cold call, you encounter people that tell you all the time, like, the house is in perfect condition. That's because they think they're going to convince you somehow to magically close on a deal at the retail price, right? And you're going to encounter a lot of that. That's why I'm not a big fan of anything outside of attraction marketing. I teach you attraction marketing, and that's it, okay? Meaning, you learn how to plant baits and you learn how to fish. You're not in the game of hunting, okay? Because most of the time what you find is that you end up killing the person you're hunting, or you kill yourself in the process. But when you're fishing, you give food and then you attract the fish, okay? And you're not necessarily going to kill the fish. You're just probably going to put them in create value, okay? Does that make sense? I don't want to go too far with the analogy. The point there is that it's a different type of mindset, okay? When you're dealing with a house, when you're cold calling people, most people think their house is prettier than what it is, at least for the purpose of what you're trying to do. But when you use attraction marketing, you attract people that have situations like fire damaged properties, too much work. I'm moving to Florida. I don't have the time. I'm sick right now. I don't want to deal with that extra second home. I just want to get rid of it. Those are the kind of situation that you're going to be dealing with, because you actually get to bring value. That's where the money comes from the value that you're bringing to these people. So there's no magic really at the end of the day. Let's move on to the next one. All right, so this one says, can I find houses to flip or wholesale on Zillow? Okay. Remember what I just said earlier about things that feel like, oh, you could just, it's easy, right? Obviously going to Zillow.com and just looking at houses for sale by owners and calling them seems easy until you try it. Okay. But I agree with you. I got myself. We don't use the word easy. It's not relevant in entrepreneurship, in business, even in life. It's not relevant. You're not going to be like, tomorrow morning I want to go to work. But it's not easy to wake up in the morning. It's not relevant. You got to go to work. Okay. It's the same thing in business, right? But with that being said, allow me to use the word easy. Okay. Calling for sale by owner is going to be one of the most painful process for you. Why? Because there's a reason why that person listed that house for sale by owner. Two possible reasons, right? Well, there's about 20 different reasons, but let me give you just two, right? They don't want to pay a realtor, right? They don't want to pay a realtor 6% or 3%. They want to keep most of the money, okay? They believe that today, in this time and age, there's internet. So why would I give away my money when there's internet and everyone have access to the same Zillow? And they're kind of right. Okay, they're kind of right. The problem is that you're going to waste your time calling those people, thinking you can negotiate 40 to 50 cents on a dollar, and they're going to crush you out potentially, right? Okay, so that's one. Another reason why they have listed that property on there potentially is, they want the full price, right? Remember I said they want to save money, right? The other side is they want all the money, right? But you may say, yeah, but some people don't mind. Maybe the house has sat there for a while and they're just looking for a way to get rid of it. You may be right, but that's the exception. That's one out of every 1,000 houses. So it really comes down to this, right? It feels easy. The reason why people ask this kind of questions, either should I drive for dollars or should I go on Zillow, all this quote unquote hacks, right? Is because it feels easy. Okay. For as long as you continue to, your energy continue to be drawn to things that feel easy, you will fail in this game. If you get lucky the first time, you're not going to get lucky the second time. The only way to have 100% luck in this game, 100% chance that you're going to win, is to learn marketing. And you don't go on Zillow to market unless you're targeting homeowners on Zillow, people that like Facebook pages on Zillow, right? That are homeowners, unless you're targeting them so you can attract them to fill out your form because they have a house to sell. That's attraction marketing. That's something that we cover here, right? But again, if you're going there to go pick up the phone and call them, you're forgetting that you're burning time. That's time. That's precious time. That's the most valuable thing for you in life. And you're going to have to go through 1,000 calls before you find somebody that will say, you know what? Yes, I've been waiting for you to come and take my house away from me at 40 to 50 cents on a dollar, right? Not right. So, can you find a deal on Zillow? I think all marketing strategies work. The question is, are you going to keep working until it works? Is it going to take longer? Is it going to be a little bit of a frustrating process for you? I think Zillow, just like driving for dollars, is going to be frustrating for most people. The only thing I go to Zillow to go look at is Zestimate, just so I can know what to offer a lead that has already called me. That's the only thing I go there to look for. Zillow is for retail buyers. It's for retail sellers. It's for people to list a house that they need to sell. For you, for what you're trying to do here, it's a marketing game. It's about numbers. It's about data. It's about learning how to convert data to deals. And if it involves too much manual work, going through all those numbers and then calling them one-on-one at a time, you're going to expose yourself to frustration, and you're just going to be like, okay, it doesn't work. And then you're going to have resentment against the business simply because you wanted the easy route. The easiest route in this business is to learn marketing, learn how to market. Because not only can you make money wholesaling real estate, you can use that skill set in every other aspect of business and entrepreneurship. When you finally learn the skill set of attracting people to you and getting them already sold before they even open their mouths. That's the skill set that we want to cover, and we want to continue to train our people inside of 11 days challenge. And if you are concerned about me overselling it, I'm sorry. Okay, that's just how it goes here. Okay, but I guarantee you're not going to hear this anywhere else. Okay. All right. Is it possible to flip or wholesale or commercial property? Yes, of course. Of course. Of course, you can flip and wholesale or wholesale a commercial property. What is a commercial property, by the way? Commercial property is basically property, real estate property that's used for commercial reasons, meaning they're used to make money. They're not used like a home where you live in and you live in, right? So, and there are all types of different types of commercial properties. Like right now, in my opinion, everyone's house should be a commercial property. You should have a home office, a home studio, right? And stuff like that that you actually make money from inside of your house. But that's not what we're talking about. Let's not kumbaya ourselves. I'm talking about office buildings. We're talking about strip malls. We're talking about maybe apartment complexes, right? Mixed use property is a property with a shop in the basement, or sorry, on the first floor, and then maybe an apartment or two apartments at the top. Those are all that's considered mixed use here in New Jersey. Some people consider that commercial, right? So can you flip or wholesale commercial property? You can flip or wholesale anything. Let's just get that through our psychic, okay? Like literally, I can turn around and take these headphones and say, hey, I found this in somebody's garage. I found it. I picked it up for $2 because they didn't want to know more. I listed it on eBay. I sold it for $7. Okay, boom, I just made how much? I sold it for $7. They paid shipping, so I just made $5, right? And I can do that over and over and over and over again with any product, goods, and even services. Did you know that? Anything that people will pay money for, any kind of valuables that people will pay money for, you can flip and you can wholesale it. Okay, and it's the same. Obviously, it's the same thing for commercial properties. The only thing I need to point out here is this. Remember when we talked about cash buyers? Okay, cash buyers for homes, residences, right? So there's something called market size. Market size, either you're dealing with a seller, you're dealing with a buyer, you need a healthy market size in order for you not to run into frustration in any business, okay? So one of the mistakes that a lot of people make when they're starting a brand new business, one of the biggest mistakes that they make is they have this idea, but they never test the idea to go start a business off of it, right? They never test the idea with the market. Does the market even want this? Okay. Like, it's just like everything we do here, like 50% of our business here, we test the market before we create a product. Okay. We don't want to create stuff that the market doesn't want. Not because I think it's the fanciest, best idea in the world. I want to test it. So why am I saying that? What does it have to do with commercial property? When you're dealing with cash buyers, the people that will actually pick up this property from you, that number of people is significantly lower than if you were dealing with residentials. Okay, because residential, everyone needs a home, but not everyone needs a commercial property. Okay, so because of that, there's a big market for residential properties. When you're comparing that to commercial properties, significantly lower. So if that's not the game that you already played, that you have some experience in, it's going to be tremendous. Even if you lock up a good deal under contract, it's going to be tremendously difficult for you to sell the deal that you lock the property under. Okay. Now, with that being said, if it's truly a real deal, really all you have to do is make a call to a few commercial real estate agents, and they can probably find somebody to pick up the deal. So the question here is it possible? Absolutely, it's possible. Just be mindful that when you jump around different types of deals and businesses like that, you have to consider the market size. Do you have the resources? Do you have the network to pull the strings to make things happen? If you don't, you're going to have a contract, a paper that's worthless in your hands. Does that make sense? And that's not what we want, because you don't make money like that. You make money by actually translating the value in that paper, the contract, into money in the bank account. And money only comes from one place. It comes from people. Okay, that's just the bottom line. Okay, money comes from one place, comes from people. So if there's no people, that's the third core pillar that we'll cover in Smart Real Estate Wholesaling, right? There's value, there's automation, there's people. If there's no people, there's no money. Okay, that's why people, it's not properties, it's people. It's the people that control the properties, right? Or the people that have interest in purchasing the property. You need enough size so you don't run into frustration. All right, so we kind of run out of time there. Let's pick up one last one. This question is, I think we've already answered. Maybe not. Okay, we didn't answer this. Do you need a license or any certification to wholesale houses? No, you don't. Okay, you don't, for the most part. Okay, but if you remember earlier, I mentioned when I was answering the question about how do you legally wholesale a house. Well, wholesale is legal, so that question is invalid, but let's help you. Okay, basically what I did then. So let's talk about this. Do you need a license or certification to wholesale houses? No. However, if you're going to do more than one house, there may be states out there that will require you to be licensed. But again, that's not a big deal. Why don't you just close your first deal first to find out? Okay, close your first deal, and then you find out if you know if you need. You will know if you need, after closing your first deal, then you say, hey, do I need a license? Because again, like I said, I know Illinois for a fact, you can close at least one deal, right? After that one deal, you're required. It's just regulation. It doesn't make it illegal. It's regulation. You're required to be licensed to do more than one deal. But instead of getting licensed, you can have a person that's licensed on your team, as you should anyway. Okay. I have a person that's licensed on my team. I used to be licensed. I'm not licensed anymore. It's not worth my time. I don't want to give money away for no reason to the agencies. But there's somebody that's what they do, and they understand the wholesale and investing game, and they're useful for me. If I need a wholesale, if I need a realtor or anything like that, I just say, hey, you get on the deal. I pay you commissions. Just you're the agent on the deal, okay? And they are open to answering any questions with respect. It's just easy work for them. They don't have to facilitate the deal, but they're the official agent on the deal. And no, there's nothing behind them. They know what's going on. They just don't have to do the work, okay? So again, it's a non-issue. You don't have to be licensed. You don't have to be certified. In some state, after you do one deal, which means, hey, you have one thing to do now. Go close your first deal, right? After you do one deal, they may require you to be licensed or require a licensed agent on the deal. No one can stop you from doing deals, okay? No one can stop you. And again, that's another reason why you need cash buyers, so that you can make sure that, cash buyers are open to the idea of paying you a fee for a finder's fee as opposed to paying you from the deal. They just pay you a finder's fee. It's nothing illegal about paying you a finder's fee on the side, outside of the transaction. They will do the deal, they will close the deal, one transaction, and pay you a finder's fee. The point I'm making in all of this is that there are ways around, there are legal ways around doing deals if you're finding deals, okay? If you're not finding deals, okay, you're already operating an illegal business because you don't bring in profit, okay? It's actually it's a sin to humanity when you run a business that doesn't bring in profit, okay? But when you run a business that actually find deals that actually bring value to these investors, you will make money, okay? Don't worry about, okay, something legal. All I ask you is don't steal, don't cheat, don't lie. Don't take advantage of the vulnerable, the old, the sick, the children, women. Don't take advantage of anything that seems vulnerable or that you feel like you can take advantage. Don't do it, okay? Because to come back and bite you. Just be out here giving value, okay? Focus on giving value. Ask yourself, what problem am I solving? If you can't answer that question, keep asking questions because you're probably missing something about the business. What problem am I solving? More importantly, for other people. For other people, when you run around town looking to file LLCs, looking for contract, you're looking to protect yourself. You're not solving problem for anybody, really. Okay, you're just busy protecting yourself, and you're not bringing in profit, and it's a sin. Okay, learn how to find deals and close deals, and as you do more and more of it, yes, you should protect that business, but then you have a business to protect, right? As opposed to the other way around. All right. All right, so that's it for this week. I will see you next Tuesday right here, 4 p.m. We're gonna have fun as usual. Hopefully, this was enlightening. Hopefully, you may even have more questions. Feel free to post them in. You can send them to support@myEmpirePRO.net. And feel free. By the way, go ahead and subscribe to my podcast. My podcast has some of this series, but also has relationship stuff in it as well. So just keep that in mind. My podcast, you can find that at Empire Lifestyle. You can search Empire Lifestyle on your favorite podcast platforms, and you can listen on the go. Last but not least, make sure that you're going through your 11 days challenge. Don't get stuck on day 2, day 3. Make sure you're going through them. Don't accept your own excuses. They're all legitimate, but don't accept them. Okay. Make sure you see this all the way through to the end and get inside. Let's get you going. Also, in my opinion, you need to be learning digital marketing. Okay. If you're not learning digital marketing, your chances you're going to fail is significantly higher. Okay. Why? Because most people are playing the small game, and I'm asking you to play the big game. Okay. Hopefully you've been enlightened, educated. I'll see you on the next one, and peace.